Hi, everyone. We are here with Chris Kane, VP of Sales and Marketing from AudioControl. Very excited to have him with us, and we're gonna, say everyone say hi to Chris, and we're gonna, go through a couple of questions with him to find out about AudioControl's new product lineup and some technical questions as well. So, hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you being here.
Great. Thanks, Ashish. Good to see you. Good to talk to everybody. Look forward to seeing people face to face again at some point. But this is, I think, a great opportunity just to kind of connect with everybody. So, but thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. And just a quick background on Chris's profile. You've been with AudioControl for almost 30 years now, Chris, I think, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, since 1992. So yeah.
Wow. And you were just recently nominated as a CE Pro Master, which is a huge award in our industry. So congratulations on that.
No,
That
thank
really
you.
tells us right now that Chris really knows what he's talking about. So he's very qualified and very knowledgeable in the industry. So again, thanks for joining us, Chris. I'll get started with some questions. Can we maybe go through the AudioControl brand name and what AudioControl services entail? For maybe anyone unfamiliar with the brand.
Oh, sure. Yeah, our company actually has been in business a little over 40 years now. And we started life as a manufacturer of processors, specifically equalizers that were sold to the retail channel. So back in the hi-fi days, someone would come into a store and buy a pair of speakers and take them home and maybe put them in the corner of their room or somewhere, or they'd have tile or glass and it didn't necessarily sound the way they thought they should sound. So we made some equalizers that would let you apply, boost and cut and balance the sound out. And that was kind of the early days of room calibration, if you want to call it. So, and fast forward a few years, our equalizer line grew. We started making audio analyzers to assist and, now I knew what an equalizer was, but I don't know how to set it. So now we have an analyzer that will help you set it. And then once we've got that kind of set, how do I fine tune the sound? And that grew as the retail channel grew. And then, about 30 years ago, we had our traditional retailers coming to us and saying, hey, I'm going out to clients' houses now, and they're buying more products because of that. And they're starting to put speakers in different parts of the house. Can you help us with that? And they liked using what we were doing equalization, but they said, do we have this challenge with a rack? And I went, okay, what's a rack? So we go out and see all this equipment that used to be put into a piece of furniture now placed into closets and walls and areas and, storing it off to the side. So we had to come up with ways to kind of solve that and help that. And so we developed a line of amplifiers, which originally our Architect series, that took that equalization circuits that we were using and put that inside the amplifiers. And dealers loved that because it didn't take up a lot of space and gave the ability to kind of fine tune the sound. And along the way, we discovered that there wasn't a lot of really good amplifiers out there in that category. So it caused our team to say, let's sit down and develop, and we're our U.S. Manufacturer and an engineering team and everything. So it's nice to have everybody in house. So when we have those conversations with the clients and the dealers, we can react to that. And then that channel with the Architect series led to a whole family of amplifiers, and then the new digital, our Director series DSP, which we've had now for about 8 or 9 years. We're kind of a leading edge there, where dealers said, hey, we're doing networks. We said, great, let's put network in the amps, and off it went. And along the way, for the last 15 years, we've been dabbling away at home theater, actually doing very well in home theater. So,
Absolutely.
but and kind of brings us to where we are today.
That's great. So Chris, I know AudioControl is launching a whole lineup of products this year, and some have already launched, some are in the works to launching. Do you think we could just maybe go through a quick run through of all the products, and I'll share my screen here as well, so we can also see the products on the website while we maybe speak about them.
Oh, sure, definitely.
Great.
Ooh, that's exciting. Good.
Yeah. So I'll go into the home category here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, probably one of our biggest announcement this year at ISE and CEDIA was around the immersive AV processors and receivers, which we're affectionately calling the X series. And I think the thing that really helps is, over the years, we've developed a really strong legacy in terms of the audio performance,
Right.
whether it's the power level or the quality of the data. I mean, we make a product that sounds good, or great in most cases.
Absolutely.
And and if you start the day, you say, hey, if we want to have a nice 2-channel processor, that'll focus on performance, we check that box. And then, by the way, we want to make it multi-channel, surround channel, Wi-Fi capabilities, Bluetooth, things of that sort.
Right.
So we continue to develop based on, we don't sacrifice the audio, and that's important, because you do see companies some days kind of racing to add features, but they let the audio kind of fall back a little bit, where
Right.
just the audio is really the mainstay. And that's the thing that's going to make your customers the most passionate too. When they hear good audio, they'll go, that's a great feature. So, and you'll see that, with the platform. We've got 2 pre-pros, the X series, and these are 16 channels now. So they support the higher end immersive formats of Atmos, IMAX Enhanced, Oro 3D, which I know is a growing area. Have the ability to do that with the newer platforms. So we can run ins and outs. And even if you're not, I think it's important, Ashish, for people to understand, even if you're not doing a 16-channel system in your client's house,
Right.
you're probably doing more and more multiple subwoofers.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where I think this really comes into play, because I can take 4 of those 16 channels and repurpose them. So I can make them the voice of God speaker, I can make them widths or heights, or I can make them run additional subwoofers.
Absolutely.
And I can have individual delay and level and control on those subwoofers. So a lot of cool flexibility that platform allows itself to.
That's a really good feature to have. I can't agree more. Yeah.
And then traditionally, we'd had an on-screen programming menu where we now have a little bit more enhanced control on the front panel, but we've actually built in a web browser now. So
Right.
integrators, I think, will love that, because they can log on and do this remotely. They don't have to worry about running back and forth to the rack. They can create whatever the template is, and then they can save it if they want to and use it for future units or back it up. So.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. That's great. And you also have, I believe, some new AVRs coming out, right? Or they've already
Oh,
launched.
we do, yeah. And then, by the way, between the 2 units there, I know there's some interest some days. What is the difference between the X7 and the X9? If you've used like our Maestro M9 in the past, which has a very good caliber DAC, during the development process, our engineers started working closely with the team at ESS, and ESS actually introduced a brand new DAC last year called the ESS Sabre 9038 Pro.
Right.
That's a mouthful, but but it seems to be the go-to DAC, I think, in the audio world, where we're seeing more and more companies. It's got 140 dB of dynamic range. It's got almost immeasurable low levels of THD. It's like 0.0007 or 8 or something like that. So
Nice.
from an audio perspective, yeah, it's the go-to, and it's great for client. You go, well, why would a client want one versus the other? If the client likes a good 2-channel system, but also wants surround sound capabilities,
Absolutely.
the best of both worlds, that Maestro X9 is a great go-to.
Oh
But
yeah.
with that said, the Maestro X7 is no slouch. I mean, that's what I've been using, in some of the demos I do here at my house, and that's a pretty good unit also. So.
Oh, I'm sure. So the Maestro X7, the DAC in the X7 is not the ESS 9036. Is that right? Is it a different?
It's not the, yeah, we use a 9038 in the X9, and then I think we use a
26.
9026. Yeah, is that what's on the website? Yeah, the 9026. Yeah, so which is, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the 9026 is an amazing DAC, which years ago people would kill for that.
Yeah.
But technology, keeps feeding more and more into better and better ones from there. So.
Absolutely. I heard about Saber DACs when I started using Oppo Blu-ray players, and they use a Saber DAC. So, I mean, that they're synonymous with audio quality. So I was really excited to see that, the Saber DACs are being integrated with the AudioControl AVRs and the immersive AV processors. That was a really good addition, I think.
Yeah, no, we're excited about it, and some of the early demos that we've heard with that, the certain type of music clients, I think, are getting very excited about it. So
that's great. That's phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah.
But and then we have a number of receivers too, as you were mentioning. And we have the XR8 and the XR6,
Right.
as well as the new XR4. The XR8 is really kind of that. Gosh, it's almost like having separates. I mean, there's so much power inside that amplifier.
Right.
And if you've had a chance to pick up an XR8, and your back will feel it. I mean, it's got some solid power in there. and that uses one of our Class H amplifiers. It's a high current design, so produces roughly 120 watts into 8 ohms, but almost 200 watts per channel into 4 ohms.
Yeah.
And that's all channels driven, by the way. So our marketing, our wattage is not marketing wattage; it's engineering wattage.
No, I
And
believe it. I'm really happy to see that with audio control AVRs that, you know, you're not kind of I guess just alleviating your marketing wattage, like you said, and just putting a number out there that doesn't really make sense. It really does produce that much out of experience. I can say that. Yeah.
no, that's great. Yeah, some companies tend to put a power level out there, but it's really one channel, or and it's one channel at a really low impedance. So if all of a sudden you go to multiple channels and you go up to a 4 or 8 ohm number, that 100 watt per channel becomes 20 watts all channels or something like that. So ours is the equivalent of having, not quite as big as our Savoy and Pantages power amplifiers, but having an amplifier, before you get into separates from that. And the nice thing too is, like a lot of audio contronics, the feature platform that we have on the 6 and the 8 is similar to the X and 9. So you've got the 16 channels of ins and outs. You've got 7 HDMI. And by the way, the HDMIs all support 2.0B and HDCP 2.2. So the 4K content issue, we have a really good switching system in that regard. And a new thing is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities on the receivers, which is obviously a big part of connectivity. And then we have the Dirac Live room correction, which we have actually built into all of those, which is a great system for calibration for dealers.
Great. That's great. That's phenomenal.
And then this 8 is the 200 watts. The XR6 actually uses a Class AB. It's 100 watts. So that's probably more in keeping with what everybody else is doing, but a better level from that. And then the XR4 is a kind of a new entry for us to be there. A little bit of a lower price point. That's a 60 watt per channel. But I got to say, it's a 60 watt. They're audio control watts. So
Right,
I think sometimes when people hear it and then they listen to the unit, they go, "Wow, that's a lot more power than I thought." So
yeah, very competitive with a lot of the AVRs on the market today. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're real excited about this line. We just started shipping these out to customers. And despite all the craziness that's going on in the world right now, the demand we are getting from people, and not just for projects for clients, but updating showrooms, dealers doing their own homes, and then let's face it, the demand for theater has grown. Where I think people were saying, you know what, maybe I want to spend a little bit more time at home, or a lot more time at home,
Absolutely.
or whatnot. So
Absolutely.
if you're going to do that and do that right, you want to certainly outfit your theater in the right way. So
Absolutely. And I think with your AVRs, we're always future-proofing ourselves. For example, the XR4, has 11 channels of pre-out. So, even if you putting it in a media room or living room, and tomorrow you want to add a few channels of output, then you can. You have the ability to do that with this 11-channel AVR. I think that's really, really good.
no, we're very excited, and so far everything we've heard from customers has been super positive. So looking forward to that. And then that kind of also supports the new G4 amplifiers, which we started shipping those last year.
Right.
So at least for us, it's not brand new, but it's a exciting part. And it's there's a lot. Once again, there's a lot of different amplifiers out there in terms of how they function and all that.
Right.
These are all based on Class H. So they give you the warm sound and the balance and the headroom and the dynamics that you want to hear from a big amplifier.
Right.
And they don't take up as much space. And the new cosmetics on the G4 series, we have a nice sleek front panel look on there, plus a little a raised blue LED kind of highlight light.
Nice.
And a new thing is the ability to bridge the amplifiers too. So in the past, we'd have a 5-channel and a 7-channel amplifier. But now I can bridge channels 1 and 2, or I can bridge channels 6 and 7 and double up on the power level.
That's fantastic.
Larger applications. And if you click on the Avalon G4, if you can, Ashley, that's one we're really kind of excited about, where we took kind of the audio control message. And we started out, of course, with a 4-channel amplifier, that we can offer for the Dolby Atmos upgrades.
Right.
And then, of course, being our engineers that they said, hey, what other applications can we do? So if you look on the back here of the G4, you'll see all the crossover switches and the busing switches. So
Right.
I can set this up as it's a 4-channel, 230 watts into 8 ohm amplifier. And that's at 8 ohms, by the way. Or
Wow.
I can bridge it. I can bridge it from 4 into 2, so I can have 2 channels of 300 watts per, or even higher levels depending on the impedance of the speaker. We can get up to 600 watts out of those. Or
That's,
I can make it a 3-channel, and with the 3-channel, I can do 2 satellites plus 1 sub, and I have crossovers on the back of here also, so I can kind of configure that to make it a high pass or low pass or full range. So it's kind of a Swiss Army knife of amplifiers wrapped around lots and lots of power. So
that's amazing. Would you also say it can be used for stereo applications? If someone's looking for, powering a stereo setup, would this be a good choice for that?
I'm sorry, what kind of applications?
Stereo applications, just 2-channel stereo.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. No, we have quite a few dealers. I mean, this is what allowed us to kind of, hey, I've got 2 speakers from B&W or from Teal or something like that. That, let's face it, those are traditionally fairly power hungry speakers, and
Right.
they see our amplifier and go, oh, okay, maybe we need something a little more robust, and then they hook it up and listen to it, and it's like, wow, these speakers sound like, and we've
Yeah,
all had that experience where you listen to speakers and you go, wait, I thought they were going to sound different or better or whatever. And then you realize later on when you put more power on there that all of a sudden, you know what, now I understand, so more accurate speakers traditionally need more power. And, fortunately, AudioControl is here to deliver more power. And that Avalon is an excellent amplifier for that. And that can be a great, 4-channel, 2-channel. We're seeing people sometimes in making the racks look the same. They want to use 3 or 4 of these in their 16-channel. So, but between the 4, the 5, and the 7 we have, you can mix and match, I guess, to match up the channel levels that you need. So
that's great. Is AudioControl looking towards anything in the future for more stereo applications or hi-fi applications?
I think so. I mean, we're seeing certainly. I mean, we've had some interesting times with the Rialtos and the Bijou amplifiers of ours, where we've engaged with people in that 2-channel space, and they're like, "Wow, we really like the power levels that are there."
Yeah.
Our development time was called out to fill out the amplifier family. So the Avalon, I think, was one of our first models that really kind of delved us into that even more so.
Right.
So we're a little behind on product development right now, as you can imagine. So,
No,
but we got a couple of things in the pipeline. I proven track record of what we're doing with our Class H amplifiers has done well. So now we want to take that and kind of scale that into all sorts of areas, and we talk about anywhere from a 2-channel to a 24-channel, which I'm sure makes my engineers cringe. How do we get all that in a little box? So.
Well, that sounds very exciting. Yeah, I look forward to the new developments for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, and these are all shipping now, or once we get the world to open back up and those kind of things. So,
Great.
and then we literally, I mean, you're the first person I've talked to about this. We just started shipping our brand new subwoofer amplifier, the
Wow.
RS500. Yeah,
Wow.
and that's pretty exciting for us. And this is our first time in this category, and we had, once again, dealers would say, hey, there's products that are out there. I think you go, there you go, at the top there.
Yeah.
While there were subwoofer amplifiers, we would hear from so many dealers saying they're just not producing the power we want or the control. So the RS500, I mean, this is a 500 watt mono amplifier, only 1 U, by the way.
Wow.
So very compact, and it's got balanced and unbalanced inputs. It's got speaker level inputs. But as you mentioned before, it's got that DSP too. So we can log on and we can create equalization curves. You can create templates, with crossovers already preset in there.
Right.
So there's some cool stuff you can do there. But the thing I really want to emphasize is, it's 500 watts per channel, but it is stable down to 2 ohms.
Wow.
And the value of that, yeah. I mean, traditionally, if you want to add a woofer, you need to add an amp, and a woofer and an amp. Now, with that said, that's because the impedance of the speaker matches up with a 4 ohm amplifier.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
being a 2 ohm amplifier, if you've got a client that wants to double up on woofers,
Absolutely.
it may not have the rack space. Yeah, we got an amplifier that'll fit into that, and give us about 60 days or so. It's going to have a big brother called the RS1000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that'll be a 2U edition. Beg your pardon?
Also stable down to 2 ohms.
Also stable down to 2 ohms. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. One thing
So, but
I like about this amplifier is the fact that it's IP controlled. And I'm just this is probably one of the first products I've seen, at least a subwoofer amplifier that's IP controlled. And I think that's so important going forward because it allows the integrator to remotely service the unit once it's set up. With the current new normal we might be facing, I think that's going to be so crucial because we won't always have access to go into someone's home, but being able to remotely access it and control it and change any settings, that makes a huge difference.
no, absolutely. I mean, the remote access, which is prior to what's going on in the world right now, remote access
Yeah.
was growing and growing. I mean, let's face it, as integrators, while we have a great relationship with our clients, they may not necessarily want to see you every day, you know.
Yeah.
So as networks as we has become that important of an infrastructure in your house, almost right up there with electricity,
Right.
uh, the ability to program, to control, remote monitor, all those kind of things are real key. So I mean, you'll see IP control. I mean, we have IP control on our receivers. Our Director series has IP control, so you can monitor those kind of capabilities and switch and things of that nature. So it definitely gives a lot more flexibility.
That's great. I'm sure, being there's IP control, we can probably control it with an automation system, or at least there'll be drivers coming out going forward that'll allow us to control it with the automation system, which means we could probably set different target curves for frequency, etc., depending on, the content being viewed. Is that probably something we can look at going forward?
Well, I believe the software actually supports presets. So if you wanted to have, particularly, I mean, with a subwoofer amplifier, let's say you have a family movie night, so you just want to
Yeah.
let it go. Maybe you want the bass a little bit more full and things like that.
Yeah.
You can adjust that to set that up, and then maybe it's a nighttime mode where dad wants to sit back and watch, or mom and dad want to watch a quiet movie, and the rumbling throughout the house may keep the kids awake,
Yeah.
or I know sometimes when I listen to a movie kind of loud at night, my wife will say, "Hey, can you turn that down a little bit?" So if you have a few presets in there, now you don't really want to give your client. I've had people go, "Hey, should I let the client go in and change the EQ?" It's like, no, you don't really want to give them that
Yeah.
access.
Exactly.
No, yeah, it's like leaving the network wide open. You're not going to have that. But if you go in and you predict, hey, the client may want to have a flat, balance mode, and maybe they want something where it's a little bit more dynamic.
Right.
So you can create different presets that will support that.
Well, that's great. That's a great feature to have for sure.
Yeah, no, and we've seen with our Director series in general, people like the speaker profiles, and there's default EQ curves that are built in here.
Yeah.
Scroll down the page a little bit. We'll see if we've got anything mentioned on here. Um, let's see, and go down a little bit further if you can.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Some of the sound partner speaker profiles are built in already
Right.
for these companies, so it's a great starting point, and it's a default EQ curve that we get from the speaker manufacturer, and we build that in there, and then the dealer then has the ability to fine tune the sound once they get on the site to match it up with the house. So
Well, that's great. I mean, that leads me to my next question, actually. I love the fact that you have speaker optimization profiles, and especially when it comes to multi-zone audio. Sometimes it's very difficult to, calibrate your setup, according to the room. So having these speaker optimization profiles really helps, integrator kind of easily calibrate based on, existing profiles and manufacturers and how well they would, probably work in the room. So, do you have plans to maybe add additional partners going forward, or anything in the works for that?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've had a lot of speaker manufacturers reach out to us. And I take it for granted some days, but our engineering team is upstairs from me. Well, not in my house, but at my office. The engineers are upstairs, so we have the ability to kind of communicate pretty regularly. Some companies, the engineering departments are in different buildings or different cities or whatever the case may be. So
Right.
I think a key point to point out, Ashley, is that the EQ curves we have in there are provided to us by the speaker manufacturer.
That's great.
And so we tend to focus on companies that build and design speakers and have an engineering house and a team in house. So we just need to make sure we get that data from them. So, but yeah, we've got a number of companies that we're working with that would like to get their profiles and their data added to this. And I think it's just a matter of kind of getting it finished up for them. So.
That's fantastic. Good to hear. Yeah, great stuff. So, Chris, I wanted to touch on one more of your new products coming out. It hasn't launched yet, but the semi-volt amplifiers. So this is a really exciting product. I've not seen anything on the market really like it because it has so many cool features. With the fact that they can support 70-volt speakers, impedance speakers, 8 ohm, 4 ohm, and it goes all the way down to 2 ohm as well. Any passive speakers, and it has the built-in DSP speaker profiles, and the fact that you can remote EQ, remotely connect to it and do your EQ settings. I think that's a huge advantage, and like I said, I haven't seen that going forward in any of the products. Can you maybe walk us through how you guys thought of launching this product into the market? Was it more of adding something to the market base, or was it something more of a dealer requirement, or just curious how you guys came about producing this product?
Yeah, no, good question. A little bit of both, I think. And then, as you were mentioning some of the features there with the CM series, I mean, you can some common denominators there in terms of what we've done with our products, from a roadmap perspective with DSP and sound partners and things of that nature.
Right.
And at the same time, dealers came to us and say, hey, we're doing more of these commercial projects and high-end outdoor projects and stuff. So we'd like a product that kind of fits into that, but at that point they were kind of shoehorning in some of the commercial gear that was out there.
Right.
So we said, what features do you need for that higher end residential as well as commercial? So if you go up to the back panel real quick, you'll see, a traditional amplifier will have balanced and unbalanced inputs, which is what we have here on the right side.
Right.
But most commercial amps don't do anything in the digital domain in terms of internals. So if you look on the middle of it there, we actually have digital audio inputs. So residentially, maybe you have a Sonos streamer or some kind of product that's going to have a digital audio output. You'd prefer to take advantage of that. We can run digitally in through there. So that's a unique feature you don't see on a traditional commercial amplifier.
That's amazing.
And then to your point, yeah, the power level thing, we wanted to put enough power. So the platform, we have a 750 watt, per channel platform, and there's a 2-channel, a 3-channel, and a 4-channel, available.
Yeah.
And you could basically put those in the right mode. So if I want an 8 ohm, if I want the subwoofer to play 8 ohm and I want my satellites to play 70 volt, I can select the mode on the amplifier. So I can have one channel of the amplifier drive a bunch of 70 volt speakers, and then the other channel can drive my subwoofers or something along those lines. So you're going to get your better sound quality out of there.
So
and then all the other stuff.
Yeah.
All the other stuff we talked about, the speaker profiles, the EQ, the DSP settings, that people have kind of come to know and love with our products are on board. So
that's great. That's great. Yeah, it looks like an amazing product. We can't wait to get our hands on it, and can't wait for it to come out. Any updates on the launch date on this guy?
Engineering is telling us probably Q3, give or take.
Great.
Our development time has shifted a little bit because of what's been happening in the world, as you can imagine. But I got to tell you, like you and a lot of our customers, people are chomping at the bit for this. So we're very excited to get it out there, and it's nice to have something that's going to have an AudioControl branded thing.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I mean, for a dealer, the profit margin on a product like this, because it's coming from us, is pretty good, as opposed to what they may get from a traditional commercial product that they're buying through multiple step distributors and things like that.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. That's great. Looks very exciting, Chris. And the entire product lineup looks exciting. We're so excited to get to work with these products, and we've been a big fan of the brand. We really like working with AudioControl. They really the results are phenomenal, and they're built to last. So that's something we really appreciate about your products. So keep up the great work, Chris. We really appreciate everything you guys do, and thank you for taking the time to have this conversation with us, and let us know about everything that's coming up. And we look forward to the new launches, and keeping on talking to you about some of the newer stuff. Yeah.
No, thank you, Ashish. I appreciate being on here, and for all those that watch this, certainly, any questions you have, reach out to Ashish, and we appreciate the partnership there. Whatever what has it been now? 7 years, 8 years, something like that?
It's been quite a few. Yeah, about 7 or 8 years. I remember when we started off. I came to Seattle, and I got a chance to
You came to visit us. And I said, "Who is this guy?" And so it's great to see our business continue to develop. You're
Absolutely.
getting gray hair. You're getting gray hair now.
I'm
You're
doing a
becoming
lot.
an old guy like
You know,
us. So.
lockdown. It's funny. This is the first time I've been able to get out of shorts and a t-shirt in like a month and a half. I just started the phone here, so yeah,
No
it's
problem.
yeah, it's tough. But you know, I guess that's something we have to all, you know, just wait and watch and see how things go. But you know, stay safe and stay healthy, Chris,
Absolutely.
you and your family, and
Thank you very much.
yeah, yeah, and everyone at Audio Control, and thank you again for everything. We you know, we really appreciate all your support.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ashish.
Thanks, Chris.